everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be discussing the differences between in-person lectures and online lectures. So last year all of my lectures were online, I didn't have any face-to-face. However, this year all of my lectures are in person. So it is a lot different from being online, especially being online for a full year and never actually being able to go into my building and explore my building and look around at all the different rooms, because a lot of us second years are getting quite confused and lost in our buildings because we've literally been in them for the first time this week. So I have now had 3 in-person lectures, my first 3 lectures of the semester, of the year. So I have now kind of a good understanding of the differences between the online lectures that I had last year and the in-person lectures, which I will be having this year. So on the whole, they aren't too different. However, there is quite a lot of differences when you think about it when you're sitting at your desk at home or sitting in a lecture theatre or a lecture room. So I'd say the first big difference is that you kind of feel you're more in like study mode when you are actually in the building and having in-person lectures. I feel a lot more motivated and I feel a lot more kind of inspired to do well in my course and well in my modules when I have the in-person lectures, because the lecturer is right there present and is kind of excited about the course, excited about the module, and they are motivated and inspired to teach us. So then that kind of rubs off on the students and I then feel like excited to get on top of my work and everything. So that's a big aspect of it. Just the environment you're in really does change your feeling towards the module, towards the course, towards your work. I feel like when the lectures were online, I kind of felt a bit more laid back towards my work. It didn't feel as like pressurizing. Maybe that is because it was first year, but I still only have had 3 lectures, so it's not like it's loads of pressure already. But yeah, just the online lectures you kind of feel a bit more laid back, relaxed at home, obviously because you'll be at home. So you don't really feel that motivated, whereas when you're in the lecture, in the actual building, face to face, you definitely feel more motivated and that energy is a lot higher because you're not just with the lecturer, you're also with other students and other people in your course, and you get to meet them and you kind of feel again like motivated because they're there as well. You can kind of bounce off their ideas or even just talk to them, like not even if it's about the work or anything. Just being able to talk to other people in your course is really kind of inspiring and exciting because you're able to interact with people who like the same things that you do and, you know, are doing the same course as you. I have all in-person lectures this semester at least, and probably next semester as well, and also all my seminars are also in person. However, that might not be the case for all of you. I know some courses are still doing some online seminars, and I know even some courses are still doing some online lectures. So I just thought it'd be interesting for you first years to get an understanding of the differences, just in case if some of your things are still online, or you know, even next year if you're prospective students, some of your things may still be online. It's just nice to know the differences between the two. Another thing to note is I feel like more was done during the online lectures. So for me, the online lectures were pre-recorded. So the lecturer would go in on a day or do it from their home and record the lecture and then upload it on the given time for the lecture time slot. So it wasn't live, whereas I think some lectures might be live online, but mine weren't last year. So I feel like the lecturers, they weren't able to kind of bounce off of us or other members of staff in the room, so they were kind of just getting through things really quite quickly. And already I've noticed that we haven't covered everything that we were going to in the lectures that I've had in person. That's not the fault of anyone, it's just because it's so different being in like an in-person environment where there are actual people present, whereas when it was online the lecturers were literally talking to no one. So of course the lectures are going to be a little bit slower and a little bit slower paced in person than they are online, because obviously online they can just go as fast as they can. Even though they're not going to race through it, they're still going to go and talk at a normal pace, but it's just a little bit of a faster pace because they're not necessarily asking us questions or being interrupted by things or things like that. And if there is like a technical difficulty, they could have just edited it out on the pre-recorded online lectures, whereas obviously in person, if their PowerPoint isn't loading, that could eat into, you know, 5-10 minutes of our time, because it is in person. One thing that I was really worried about was that I wouldn't be able to write down my notes fast enough in the in-person lectures, because a lot of the times on the online lectures I would just pause and write what the lecturer was saying down, and then, you know, play so I could carry on like writing down the sentence that they were saying. So I was quite worried that I wouldn't be able to keep up with my notes in the in-person lecture. But to be honest, I think I actually have done quite well. I have been writing pretty fast and being able to get most things down. Again, I feel like with the online lectures, you kind of end up just writing loads of notes and maybe not necessarily useful notes, whereas with the in-person lectures, the notes that I have made, I feel are a lot more valuable and a lot more useful than the notes I made last year through the online lectures. That is because if I know something that's on the slide isn't going to be there in 5 seconds, there's no point writing it down because it's not actually that important, whereas I'm listening to what the lecturer is saying, trying to figure out which parts are important so then I can write those things down, or writing down the little bits of quotes that the lecturers put on their slides, so that I can then potentially use those quotes in my essays later on, like doing things like that, writing down the important things instead of just writing down anything, because I think I should write down everything. That is definitely a difference I found between the online lectures and in-person lectures. And again, that's great for the in-person lectures because I'm able to actually write down proper and useful and like knowledgeable notes, whereas for the online lectures it was just like everything. I pretty much wrote down, not everything obviously, but I wrote down a lot more. So again, that is like a bit time consuming. However, there are pros and cons of both online and in-person lectures, so don't feel like from this video you're now worried or confused and concerned about your in-person lecture or your online lecture, because there are pros and cons for both. So for example, a pro for an online lecture is that you are able to pause it and fully understand the information a bit more clearer, whereas in an in-person lecture you're kind of thrown the information at you, and then, you know, you leave and you walk back home and you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I've completely forgotten what was going on, I don't understand anymore. From walking from your lecture building back home, you've kind of forgotten, or you feel more confused. Because with the online lecture, you get that information, you digest it then and there, and then you can figure out, whilst it's still paused, if you can understand what's happening. So I feel like with the online lectures you might get a better understanding of what you're actually being taught. However, with the in-person lectures, I feel like your concentration is higher and you are able to write down more succinct and useful notes for you to then look back onto when you are writing your essays or you're doing your exams in next months. Yeah, so to be honest, I enjoyed the online lectures last year. I've really enjoyed the in-person lectures I've had so far this year. Both have been great. It's been really great to meet the lecturers in person, because last year obviously we were just seeing them on the screen, and it's nice to be able to actually finally meet them. Either way, lectures are great, both online or in person. You still get the PowerPoints that they do, and then a lot of the times like the lecturer will also put on the PowerPoints onto Learning Central, which is kind of where all your learning materials are put. And also the lectures are still being recorded, so if you do have to self-isolate or you're ill or something, or you just want to re-watch them, then you can do that. I'm pretty sure they said that they're being recorded. I'm not sure how they're being recorded, but they are. So that is still a great plus. So again, it's kind of like last year, you can then re-watch the lecture when you need to, you know, kind of write your essay, or you want to go back and figure out and fully understand what you were being taught. So yeah, those are the main differences between lectures online and lectures in person. I don't really have a preference. I do like both. There are definitely pros to both. It is nice though being in the environment of that lecture room with the lecturer there, kind of motivating you and inspiring you. So that is a great kind of aspect of university, because I feel like it was difficult last year because I didn't feel like I was actually a proper part of the university, because I was kind of just in my room. Whereas now I definitely feel more as a part of university. That's not only because of me being able to go into the lectures and meeting people and being in the building, meeting my lecturers, but that's also because the Students' Union has been open and I've been able to kind of go to events there and things, and that has also made me feel a bit more of a part of the university, because you definitely feel that community in the Students' Union, and obviously as well like when you're in your lectures. So I'm really positive for this year because I feel like it's going to be a great year, and being able to learn a lot in the in-person lectures and meet all the professors and everything is just a great plus. So yeah, I hope all of you guys, if you are first year students or you're applying for Cardiff University for the following year and you're looking at applications and everything, I hope you all have a great academic year this year. So yeah, I hope that video was useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye!